The tensile test is basically is a test that we run to measure the strength of a material with respect to how much they can handle linearly, which we call it elastic, and that basically is referring to the yield point, and also the ultimate tensile strength, which is called also UTS. And in this regard, we're going to use a sample here. We usually do the dog bone sample, which basically looks like a dog bone, but is also valid for the round sample. So this is a round sample. So in order to do that, we're basically going to use this punch and create two marks there. They are roughly 2 inches apart, but we're going to measure that with micrometer, and then once we test it, we come back again and find out how much has been stretched. We're also going to measure the diameter of the sample. So the diameter of sample is roughly 1/2 inch, but in order to be accurate and knowing that some of these samples may have some, tolerances in between, so we're going to basically measure the diameter. Okay, so Michael is going to basically punch the machine. Okay, so as you can see, there are two marks here. They're shinier here, these two. So we're going to measure that. Okay, so it basically is 2.0415. So we're going to record that one somewhere. So I'm just going to write it down here. And he's going to measure the diameter. So in order to do the diameter measurement, we measure it 3 times, so, and then get the average. So he got the first one,
5.005, 5.010, 4.965.
Okay, so these are recorded. All right, so the next step would be using the tensile machine. So the tensile machine you can see in here, it's basically is either hydraulics or uses screws to do that. So in order to do that, we're gonna basically follow the procedure. Okay, so these are basically the jaws we talked about. So the jaws are basically consist of kind of shoes. These shoes basically holding a sample. And as you can see, there's a groove there, which is perfect for the sample we have, which is round. If you have a dog bone one, then you would have a flat shoe there. And we're going to follow the procedure. So the thing with this machine is basically, it is electronic, so it measures the change in strength by measuring, it applies the load to the sample, and it measures how much has been stretched. So in order to measure the stretch, it has an internal sensor that measures increment of increasing length as these screws moving up and down. It basically measures how much sample has been stretched. And then it basically recording it on the software, right? So we're going to follow the procedure based on the software. So the machine is on, we're going to go here. So the software is basically recording 2 values. As you can see in here, it measures kip, which basically kilopound force, and also measures the extension, which basically is the elongation of sample as a result of this load. Yes, following the procedure, use the correct jaw. So we already have the correct jaw. Measure the sample gauge length and diameter. So we measured the gauge length, which was the spot between the 2 punches, and also the diameter, we got the average. Okay, so then we click on next. Okay, now we're going to call this sample a name. And the diameter also. Okay, the diameter has also been measured. All right, we click on next. Okay, now we follow the basically the procedure. So I'm just going to put the camera in here, and or maybe I'll install a sample. Can you read that, Michael, loud, please?
Click balance load.